Hello, sports fans. This is the Bookmaker Podcast with Art Eftekhari, a.k.a. Mr. Bookmaker, your source for the sports betting industry 24/7. Sit back, relax, and listen as Mr. Bookmaker highlights what's happening right now in the world of sports. So, without further ado, here's your host, Art Eftekhari.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? Welcome back to another edition of the Bookmaker Podcast. I'm your host, Art Eftekhari. Really glad that you can join us. Before we get started, get to our website. The address, bookmakerinfo.com. That's www.bookmaker-info.com. We got the links to all the best European, Asian, and United States-friendly bookmaker sites. And our Bookmaker Guide is available for you, so hurry up and download it, because you know the deal. I want you to take your love of sports to the next level. Now, let's get things started off on the right note with some A to Z bookmaker talk. Our concept for today is Franklin. Now, what is a Franklin? It is a wager of 100 American dollars. So for this edition of the Bookmaker Podcast, let's just say the motto is, it's all about the Franklins. All right, moving on now. I am at one of my favorite online bookies, and this one is Ladbrokes. Address is www.ladbrokes.com. All right. And I'm not talking about one of my friends who's low on cash. Just letting you know the name of this website, Ladbrokes. All right. I'm interested in finding out who will win the 2018 Nobel Peace Prize. And there's quite a selection here, I might add. Your first one, I know you're going to love it. It is actually two people together winning the 2018 Nobel Peace Prize. And those people are Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un. And for those of you who are big on politics, yes, Kim Jong Un is the leader of North Korea. So keep your eyes on that one. The odds for Trump and Kim Jong Un to win the 2018 Nobel Peace Prize, the odds are 2-1. Next, you got Novaya Gazeta. How about the UNHCR? If you're not big on acronyms, I will explain that for you. That is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. So another interesting choice. If you feel like going with the UNHCR, the odds are 10-1. Then you got Carlos Puigdemont, 12-1 odds. Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, she's got 16-1 odds. What about Pope Francis or Raif Badawi? Both have 16-1 odds. How about the ACLU? Like I said earlier, maybe you're not an expert on acronyms, but that is the American Civil Liberties Union. Will they win the Nobel Peace Prize? Now we're getting into the fun stuff. Edward Snowden has 20-1 odds to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Next, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, with 50-1 odds. And finally, Jeremy Corbyn with 100-1 odds. So like I said, get to Ladbrokes as soon as you can. That's www.ladbrokes.com. Check out the special bets. Place a wager on who you think is going to win the 2018 Nobel Peace Prize. And before we continue, make sure you get to our website as soon as you can. Check out our latest blogs. First, if you're big on cricket, check out Dan's cricket blog. If you love American sports, check out Patrick's American Sports blog. Both Patrick and Dan are always working hard. Show them some support. And if you're crazy about football or soccer, depending on where you are in the world, check out the Mr. Bookmaker football blog. I really think you'll enjoy it. Lots of good blogs coming up from the Mr. Bookmaker football blog. And of course, check out Dan's cricket blog and Patrick's American Sports blog. All right, moving on now. I am at William Hill. That's www.williamhill.com. Look for the hashtag YourOdds. Now, the first football or soccer tournament that I'm focusing on here is UEFA Europa League. There's a couple of the Your Odds specials here you might want to pay attention to. First, with 2-1 odds, you're placing a wager on Arsenal to play Atletico Madrid in the Europa League final. And I think that's a pretty good one to take. Arsenal's looking good in the quarterfinals, and so is Atletico Madrid. I think the other teams remaining in the tournament probably may not give Arsenal or Atletico Madrid a lot of trouble. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. Now, for those of you who are big fans of Newcastle of the English Premier League, you might want to pay attention to this one. The odds here are 11-4 for Newcastle to qualify for the 2018-2019 edition of UEFA Europa League. And when looking at the standings here of the English Premier League, Newcastle has the chance to get that last spot, just to get a qualification spot for UEFA Europa League second qualifying round, but they really got to start stringing together a lot of wins, and they got to hope for the teams in front of them to start losing. So like I said, if you're big on Newcastle, or you just like living dangerously, place a wager on Newcastle to qualify for the 2018-2019 edition of UEFA Europa League. Once again, those are 11-4 odds. All right, next, I really love checking out the Your Odds specials for the upcoming 2018 World Cup. And yes, I'm still at William Hill. Now, get a load at these ones I'm about to share with you. First one, and this one has 40-1 odds. And you'd be placing a wager on at least one goal in every group stage game of the 2018 World Cup. And the moment you hear that, I'm sure there's a lot of people saying things like, okay, seriously, there's bound to be a few scoreless draws. I mean, when you look back at past World Cups, you're going to find some of those scoreless draws. I mean, they're just going to happen. And for those of you who are big on data and statistics, well, I'm taking a look at the previous World Cup, which was in 2014 in Brazil, taking a look at the data and statistics from that World Cup to help you decide whether or not you want to take this wager. Now, looking back at the 2014 World Cup, let's take a look at how many scoreless draws there were in the group phase. First, Brazil and Mexico tied 0-0. In the next group, you had Japan and Greece tying 0-0, as well as Costa Rica against England, Ecuador against France, Iran against Nigeria, and actually, that's pretty much it. So, yes, there are those scoreless draws, but you just never know how it's going to turn out, so keep your eyes peeled on that one. Next one. And of course, you can't be surprised when you have these online bookies and of course, you cannot be surprised when a lot of online bookies have a lot of special bets involving England. Yes, a lot of these online bookmakers are based in England. So how about this one? England to be beaten by Senegal in the second round of the World Cup, with Omar Niasse scoring against England. And that excludes a penalty shootout. The odds here are 40-1 for that to happen. And for those of you who are big on the EPL, the English Premier League, Omar Niasse, of course, is from Senegal, and he plays for Everton. So I've heard his name mentioned quite a bit in recent months. And, when you go back to major tournaments, in Euro 2016, England was eliminated in the second round by Iceland. And that went down as quite a disgraceful performance for the English national team. And, I must say, if they were to be eliminated by Senegal in the second round, I think you would have a repeat of fans getting extremely angry. And in fact, one of my good friends said that he was officially done with England after that loss that eliminated England from Euro 2016 when England lost to Iceland. So just wanted to share that there. Once again, those odds are 40-1. Next, Brazil to win the World Cup and Roberto Firmino to finish as top scorer. The odds for that, 66-1. And for those of you who are familiar with the Mr. Bookmaker football blog, I must say that there are a lot of these wagers that involve Brazil winning the World Cup, and I am not a big, proponent of those. I know the Brazilians are still a good footballing nation, but they just do not have that same, feeling that, that gives their opponents shivers down their spines. This is not the old Brazil, and that's all I'm going to say there. But once again, if you want to place a wager on Brazil to win the World Cup, and Roberto Firmino of Liverpool to finish as top scorer, the odds are 66-1. And last but not least, how about Spain to win the World Cup, with Antoine Griezmann of France finishing as top scorer? The odds here for that, 125-1. So like I said, get to William Hill as soon as you can. That's www.williamhill.com, and have some fun with these wagers. Look for the hashtag YourOdds. And with that, everybody, it is time to wrap up this edition of the Bookmaker Podcast. Really do appreciate the support. Make sure you get to our website, download our Bookmaker Guide. It is there to help you. We also have steps on how to register, bet, and withdraw. Show some support to Dan and check out his cricket blog, and also make sure you visit Patrick's American Sports blog. Thank you everybody for listening to this edition of the Bookmaker Podcast. We'll see you next time.
This has been the Bookmaker Podcast with Art Eftekhari, a.k.a. Mr. Bookmaker. Thanks for listening. If you haven't already, please show some love by subscribing to this podcast on iTunes or Stitcher. Till next time, this is Mr. Bookmaker over and out.